Yo, what's good, people? We back at it for another episode of What's the World with LJ Mental Podcast. As always, I'm your host with the most, LJ. Yeah, we back in here for another week. Now, before I get to my word of the week, right? I'll talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame first, and then I'm gonna get into my word of the week after that. So, hip hop is starting to make its way towards um, what's already become mainstream. I guess you consider it pop now, and it's the number one genre of music in the world now. This genre that was created in the late '70s in the Bronx, that a lot of people outside of the hood, older people, and a lot of white folks obviously thought this was going to be a fad that would be gone within a few years. Anything new, people think is going to be gone. But hip hop has lasted and has become global. Um, and just another example of that. So this past week, Jay Z um, and LL Cool J, this generation, I think now is starting to sleep on LL because LL was a superstar. But yeah, Jay Z and LL became the first living solo artists that rap. They became the first living rappers as solo artists getting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It was before the Run DMC was the first ever rap act to get in. Uh, and there was three others as well. I forgot what NWA got in as a group. And Tupac became the first solo artist, and then Biggie got in. I believe last year. Uh, so yeah, both of those guys are deceased, unfortunately. So Jay Z and LL became the first solo MCs to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is dope. Now, what does it really mean? I was really thinking about that. What does this really even mean? Um, Outside, like this, I guess, as far as the world accepting hip hop is like the number one genre. Like, 'cause I was thinking, like, why isn't there a hip hop Hall of Fame, like as a whole? Like maybe it means more than this the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because that's more like international, global, where it's recognized by everybody, not just people in the hip hop community. Um, Maybe is that, I don't know. But I feel like there should be like an official hip hop Hall of Fame because hip hop has become global. Um, because I guess it's like with the Grammys, right? Some artists they won't go to the Soul Train Awards, but they'll make sure they show up for them Grammys though. Um, so I don't know. What does it really mean? I mean, I guess it's really big time. Um, I mean, obviously Jay Z's a legend, so people recognize him as the GOAT. I personally don't consider him the GOAT, but it's obvious that he's one of the greatest of all time. You know what I'm saying? This generation sleeps on LL, man. Like, he was the first before Jay Z, before Pac, before Biggie, before Snoop. LL was the first hip hop superstar. I believe Curtis Blow. That's a little before my time, but I'm a hip hop nerd. Like I study like the history of like members of hip hop. So Curtis Blow was the first star in hip hop. Like, he had to single basketball, and these are the breaks, break it up, break it up, break it up. So those was this was bubbling big records. But LL was the first ever hip hop superstar where he transcended. He transcended outside of just hip hop. He was the first guy to really do that before the guys in the '90s took over, took it to the next level. But LL's catalog is like deep too. Like he only really stopped rapping like what 8 years ago. So like he's been going since the '80s and like was very very relevant for a long time. So yeah, people need to stop sleeping on LL, man. Like he went out here like LL was super legendary, and his catalog is very dope. That Mr. Smith album is amazing. Along with his other projects, but what does it really mean, LL and Jay Z being the first living solo MCs to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I mean, it's a big accomplishment. Obviously, they recognize this worldwide as some of the greatest, which people already know. They iconic. But yeah, I feel like there needs to be official hip hop Hall of Fame. I mean, sports. I mean, you got. I think it should be similar to sports because it's very specific to their sport. Like you got NFL Hall of Fame, NBA Hall of Fame, baseball, whatever, boxing, whatever. It's very specific to that sport. It's not a sport Hall of Fame or another sport Hall of Fame you get in. Like you're not going. Obviously, you don't have a NFL player in a baseball Hall of Fame because before NFL, NBA took off. Baseball was considered, I guess, America's pastime. I guess considered it was the biggest sport, at least in the U.S. I'm not sure about around the world, but definitely in the U.S. it was the biggest sport for a long time. And sports is very specific. It's a different audience, I guess. With music, I guess, is a little different, but I still feel like music should be that too, where you should have very specific. They have hip hop and soul, R&B. I don't know how they want to do it, but it's still the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So these MCs getting in the Rock and Roll, it's still the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Why is there not an official national or international hip hop Hall of Fame? I really feel like there should be. I don't know how touchy a subject that will be, like who will be the first inductees. I don't know, but I feel like that needs to happen. Make it very specific to the genre. Why not? And I feel like they should do that with all the genres because they got Rock Hall of Fame, but you got Hip Hop Hall of Fame, Soul Hall of Fame, Country Hall of Fame, whatever. Why not? Pop Hall of Fame, whatever. But yeah, I feel like there should be an official Hip Hop Hall of Fame. I don't know what that would take. But yeah, instead of just being recognized under that, yeah, that to me that would be a very prestigious honor as well to be in. If they do ever have a Hip Hop Hall of Fame or an official one. I don't know. Where would it be? I feel like it should be in New York because that's where hip hop started. Like obviously the NFL Hall of Fame is in Canton, Ohio. NBA is in Springfield, Massachusetts, I believe. I forget exactly where it is, but they got them in all these different places. But yeah, I feel like it should be similar to sports. Make it very specific to that, to your art that you're doing. Like how what they do with sports is very specific to the sport. They don't have just a sport Hall of Fame. So yeah, I don't know. It's dope accomplishment. But yeah, that's just something I was thinking about. Why isn't there a Hip Hop Hall of Fame? And I feel like there should be. Now to the word of the week. Word of the week this week is resilience, and it's all pertaining to football. Now we had about 3 teams that was very very short staffed and was missing. Some teams missing their quarterbacks. Some teams was missing. They had their starting quarterback, but missing a lot of their major pieces that they throw into on offense and on the defense side of the ball. So let me start with my Packers, right? My team is the Green Bay Packers. Played the Arizona Cardinals this past week, and I think it was a big underdog. Receiver Devontae Adams was out with COVID. Alan Lazard was out with COVID. The third receiver, MVS, was out. Didn't have COVID, but had an injury. Aaron Rodgers missing his top 3 receivers. His top tight end got hurt early in the game, and now it looks like he's going to be out for the year. And also on defense, our top cornerback and top pass rusher was out. So we went in there on a short week on the road and got the W. So I thought that was very impressive. That showed how resilient this team was. Now, just found out this morning, it'll be a very tough test because now they're going to be without the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Whether we can win that game or not, because the Chiefs, who they're playing, is not very great right now. I don't know, but I'm not happy about that at all because I wanted to see Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers. But let's just focus on why resilience is the word this week. So, you're going to have to be very resilient as a team to go in there and win on the road as well. The Cowboys, after starting quarterback, Dak Prescott, their backup, Cooper Rush, went in there. They got the win still. They got a lot of great pieces on offense, but they still went in there on the road to the Minnesota Vikings and got in there and got the win. They pulled it off. Showed how resilient we really are. Yeah, it was a great win. And also the Saints, the New Orleans Saints. I see this that was to me that game they played the Bucks. To me, I picked the New Orleans Saints to win this game because they was already underdog with the starting quarterback James Winston. I felt like this game was going to be an upset. It just smelled like an upset to me. Tampa Bay has struggled with them these last couple years. They beat them in the playoffs, but I don't know. I just felt like an upset to me. And they pulled it off. When their starting quarterback went down very early in the game as well, and the backup, I think their third string, Trevor Siemian, had to come in and they still pulled it off. That defense still showed up and forced Tom Brady to throw 2 interceptions and a fumble, and they got the win. So yeah, they showed how resilient they are. It's great because and with anything, right, in life you're gonna be faced with challenges and having to overcome things, and it's not gonna always be ideal. Every day not gonna be peaches and creams. Some days, some weeks, some months even. Maybe some people, some years is going to be very, very difficult obstacles that you got to overcome. And despite those obstacles, if you're still able to overcome it and be successful, it just shows how resilient you are. It shows you're not going to give up, you're not going to give in. I thought this was just a perfect example of to talk about that this week because obviously it's a sport, right? But obviously those players, it's their livelihood, so they got to go out there and compete regardless. But it's a perfect example to use. I think that could be applied to somebody's life even because we all dealt with obstacles no matter where you are, no matter where you come from. We all gonna be dealt a hand that's horrible at times, and how we react during those circumstances is going to prove whether it's maybe you short-staffed at the job and you got extra work, whether you got an injury and somehow and you still got to go do what you need to do. Maybe you just lost a lot of money. Maybe you just lost a lot of money and still got to find a way to get the bills paid or whatever. Just use an example, and you're still able to somehow pull it off and do it. I'm not telling nobody how to live. You do what you got to do. I'm not. You do what you got to do to get your job done. So, but yeah, but under these hard circumstances, proving you can get through it, being resilient, that's the key because especially like people out here that's going through a lot and they still able to get things done. And some people you can't even tell. They don't even look like they going through nothing because they just don't want nobody to see what they going through, and that's just really impressive too. But yeah, I just thought that was a good week to talk about the word resilience as far as what those teams went through and had to deal with. like I said, with the Packers, and down all those players and still went on the road. Because one thing I like to look at too, especially particularly with football, is because once teams play once a week, right? It's not like all the other major sports where you got like 80 plus, upwards of 80 games, and you could play games, 4 games in a week. It's back-to-back nights, and you don't have that in the NFL. But one thing I like to look at is, right, okay, who's missing? Are you on a road? And especially on a Thursday night game, if you gotta travel, and especially you don't got all the pieces that you need, and you still pull it off, that's very impressive to me. The fact that they had to go on the road and still put it off on a short week, that's very impressive to me. But now, like I said, just found out this morning that quarterback Aaron Rodgers is going to be out, which sucks because I was looking forward to seeing Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes. I was looking forward to that. I think a lot of people were. But yeah, because they didn't see each other when the Chiefs played the Packers in 2019 either. Patrick Mahomes is out with an injury, and now Aaron Rodgers has COVID. He's going to be out missing this game. It sucks. So this is actually another week where the Packers got to prove that they can be very resilient because Aaron Rodgers is an amazing quarterback. Backup quarterback Jordan Love, who is supposed to be Aaron Rodgers' replacement when he does leave the team. We're gonna see how that goes, but he needs to prove if he's gonna get his shot to prove if he can really be that next guy in this game. Now the Chiefs' defense is pretty bad. So, who knows? Maybe he can go out there and look good and pull this off. Who knows? But we are going to find out. Because Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be, as much as I love Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to be around forever. So, once again, Green Bay has to prove if they can be resilient. I think the Cowboys might have to prove they need to be resilient again because who knows, Dak Prescott, who's nursing a calf injury, might or might not play again. So, yeah, they're going to have to prove they can continue to be resilient as well. And who knows? But last thing I want to talk about before I get up out of here is I want to talk about particularly a scene in the last episode of if you're watching the show BMF on Stars. It's a great show. It's a very, very great show. I remember when 50 came out and said this is going to be better than Power. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far yet. I don't know if I could say it's better than Power, but it's really good. I watch all of the shows. But this particular scene, the character Lamar, that dude is crazy as hell. This dude is out his damn mind. And I was reading articles and I heard people speaking interviews. That particular character they wanted to show about guys back then dealing with like mental issues. I guess backstory of not having. He got out of the mental institution, got locked up, and got out. And he basically had nowhere to go. And it's just interesting that type of character. Cause I'm like, this dude seems like he out of his damn mind. The guy that plays him is really good. I feel like he's a really great actor. But yeah, this particular character, he's like the perfect bad guy. It seems like. And the things that in this last episode, the trials and tribulations he faced from seems like his family wants nothing to do with him. The daughter kidnapped and getting her back, and his crew turning against him. And in this particular scene, when he was singing a song by Loose Ends, "You Can't Stop the Rain." Love that song. It's a great, great, great song. I remember when Shaq was a rapper, basketball player Shaq, when he was a rapper, he sampled that song with Biggie on the song, and Biggie Probably some of his best bars ever on that song. But in this particular scene, Lamar's singing, and just what transpires after that when he's, I don't want to give too much of it away in case people haven't seen it yet, but just when he's singing this song and then they start playing the song, it's so fitting. Like that writing, how they put that together was great. That was so dope how they put that together. Because it makes so sense with that song. I'm like, why is he singing this song? And then I love this song, but I'm like, and then they start playing it, and then I realized like, yo, how fitting that song was to that particular moment. Because they started playing the chorus. And if you hear the words of that chorus, what you gonna do when all lightning starts to flash, and what you gonna do when things basically all coming apart. Basically, that's basically what the song is about. It's basically about being resilient. Really, what you gonna do when all this stuff is against you. So it's a great song, and basically overcoming. Well, you can't stop the rain. So all the things he do, from his crew turning against him to the baby mom and his daughter, seeing him act crazy, basically losing his family. So all of this stuff going on, that song fit perfectly in that scene. It was the perfect song to play. It was the perfect song for that moment. The fact that the writers, I don't know whose idea it was, the writers, the producers, was it 50 idea, was it the showrunner, I don't know, whoever idea that was, it was the perfect moment. That's probably my favorite scene of this show so far because of how significant that moment was. Like, it fit so perfectly to what was going on in that episode. It was the perfect song to play. Like, wow, it was amazing. Like that shit was amazing. How they put that together. That's great writing right there. That's perfect writing. That's something I love to see in shows, or just things how they add up, and just things like that just plays perfectly into that. This just shows how the great detail that they pay attention to. Because I love great detail, and that's one of the great details, particularly in this episode. But yeah, that was really dope how they did that. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, the word of the week was resilient, and hopefully everybody out there can be resilient, overcome any obstacles you got going on. It's life can be great sometimes. Sometimes life can be stressful. It can be really difficult, but you gotta keep pushing. And I want everybody out there to be inspired and be resilient. Go out there, do your thing. Do what you gotta do to overcome any obstacles you may got, wherever they are. I say always easier said than done, but you can do it. Now, so yeah, that's gonna be it for me this week. So always remember, stay positive, stay safe, and stay sucker free. I'm out.